Heyo everybody, Haku here, and this is the next part, and well, I guess it's not really a part, but this is sort of a thing I started last week where I'm going to be doing top whatevers for all the series I cover every weekend, and for this, since volume 26 will be coming out eventually, and we had 25, and that's a good number for something like this, I wanted to go over real quick my top 25 volumes of the Walking Dead comics. Now for 25 through 11, I might kind of try to run through them pretty quick so that we can really get into the meat of the top 10, but I will just give like a quick thoughts on why each one made it to that part in the list. So number 25 is going to be Life Among Them, which was volume 12, and that's where they find Aaron and come into Alexandria. And that was about it. Not much happened, that's why it's there. I mean, it was interesting, but to me it was the least content heavy. Number 24 is We Find Ourselves. It was volume 15, and it was where they're just cleaning up after No Way Out, and Carl is healing up, and that's about it. Again, not much content in this one. I did like seeing the cleanup, but as the show proved, we really didn't need it. They could have just skipped forward a little past it. Number 23, Too Far Gone, and that is volume 13, and it was the sort of Rick versus Pete storyline. I didn't really like it. I thought it was kind of bullshit. I have never liked, what's her name even? Jessie. I've never liked Jessie's character in the comics or in the show. So, I really didn't like this part of the story, but at least stuff happened. So, it's definitely higher than the other two because at least I feel like stuff happened. Number 22 is The Calm Before, and that was volume 7, and it was the one that had Dale get bitten, Carol's suicide, and Judith being born. Yeah, I think those three, they were in that volume. So there was stuff that happened, definitely. I liked it, but not as much as the others. Number 21 is The Heart's Desire, which was volume 4. And this one had the sort of Rick and Tyrese against each other, arguing and fighting storyline. It had Michonne arriving, even though Michonne's arrival in the comics wasn't it was not nearly as cool as it was in the show, in my opinion, because she just sort of showed up out of nowhere, and she didn't do much other than saving Otis, and I'm not even sure that Otis really needed the saving that badly. Otis wasn't a huge character, really. And Alan lost his leg and bled out. So, yeah. Alright, top 20. Number 20 is No Turning Back. Number 25, it was volume 25, it was the most recent one. The army was formed, we got some development with Dwight and Negan and some of the newer characters, but this was one where not a lot happened. Like from the fair to 150, not a ton of stuff happened in my opinion. Number 19 is Here We Remain, which is the 9th volume. It was the one where after the prison attack, Carl takes care of the unconscious Rick, and it leads into where we get the Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita introduction. Number 18 is Safety Behind Bars, and that one is volume 3. It's the one where they find the prison, they have the suicide pact storyline, and they have the murderer storyline, which I really liked. But again, this is one that I really liked, I liked a lot of them, but I just didn't like as much as others. Number 17 is Miles Behind Us, which is volume 2. It had the Wiltshire estate and the farm storylines, which were pretty brief in the comics. I liked them, but they were a bit brief, and I didn't like them as much as a lot of the other things. Number 16, What We Become, and it is volume 10. It's the one where Rick, Carl, and Abraham they run into the Marauders. Before that, we have Maggie's suicide attempt. They find Morgan and bring him back into the group, and they run into that one herd just out in wherever. Number 15 is the first one, Days Gone By. And Days Gone By covers from the beginning of the series until Shane's death. And again, I enjoyed it. It's the original, the first one, but I didn't enjoy it as much as like a lot of the others. Number 14, March to War, and that is volume 19. It shows the forces of the three communities, Kingdom, Alexandria, and Hilltop, joining together, and the first skirmish against the Saviors. So it was really good again, just not as good as the ones coming up. Number 13 is Volume 5, The Best Defense. That's the one where they find Woodbury and Rick gets his hand chopped off. Very good again. I don't want to say this for every chapter because obviously from here on out they're all very good, but a lot of them just aren't as good as like the top ones. Number 12, A New Beginning, which is volume 22, and it is just our post-time skip reintroducing us to what the world is like after this time skip. And that's about all there is to that one. Number 11 is Whispers into Screams, which is volume 23, and it's really good. We get some introduction for the Whisperers, some development for Lydia, and the new characters really. And that's it for that one. It had good development. I really enjoyed it. I absolutely loved the Whisperers, and I hope we get to see a lot more of them. The top 10. Number 10 is All Out War Part 2, and that one is volume 21. And it is where we get the conclusion of the war against the Saviors at Hilltop. There's obviously a ton that happens, but I can't go over all of that if I want to make this video a decent time. So, yeah, I just wanted to say what order my favorites were in, and that one is number 10 in my top 10. Number 9 for me is This Sorrowful Life, which is volume 6, and it's where they escape from Woodbury and we get Michonne versus the governor and the really you know, the brutal stuff. So that was very good, of course. And moving into number 8. Number 8 for me is Life and Death, and that is volume 24, very recent one. We get Gregory's execution. Yeah, that's the one we get, Gregory's execution. We get the heads on the spikes. We get a bunch more into the Whisperers. We get the fair at Alexandria. It had a lot of stuff, and I thought it was really good. Definitely the best post-time skip. Number 7 is A Larger World. That one's volume 16, and we get the introduction to Jesus and Jesus and the Hilltop. Jesus and the Hilltop, and it was amazing. I absolutely loved learning that there's this bigger world with a bunch of other communities, and it was a game changer for the entire series, really. Number 6 is Made to Suffer, volume 8, and Made to Suffer was the one where we get the governor's attack and slaughter at the prison. Of course, this one's going to be high up on anyone's list, I think. It was amazing. It was one of the most iconic from the entire series, for sure. Number 5 for me is All Out War Part 1, which is volume 20, and with that we get the battle at the Sanctuary, we get the battle at the Outposts, we get a bunch of smaller stuff, and we get that battle at Alexandria before they move on to the Hilltop. So again, a ton of stuff, very good, and definitely deserving of the spot I'm giving it. Number 4 for me might be one not a bunch of people agree with, but for number 4, I'm going to say What Comes After, which was volume 18, and that's the one where Carl is at the Sanctuary and we get the introduction of the Kingdom and Ezekiel. And I really loved this part of the story. It really sticks in my mind a lot. So for me, this one's definitely number 4. Number 3 was another kind of certain one for me, and that's going to be Fear the Hunters, volume 11, and it's the one we get the twins, Ben and Billy. Ben and Billy were their names? Yes. I forgot there for a second. We got their deaths, then we got a ton of stuff. We got Gabriel's introduction. We got the hunters taking out who was Dale's leg. I got the show confused for a second. I almost wanted to say Bob, but they take out Dale's leg, and then they get slaughtered by Rick's group, and it was just a really deep and creepy and eerie one. It was very scary how they were just hunting the humans through the forest. It was really cool, and I absolutely love it. Now, my top two were very close. It was very, very difficult to decide between them, so they could almost be interchangeable, really. Number 2 is one of the most iconic, Volume 17, Something to Fear. We get Abraham's death. We get Glenn's death, Negan showing up, Dwight showing up, the Saviors in force, and it's iconic. There's so much content. It's so good. I really can't praise that one enough. Something to Fear is amazing. And now, I've said it before in one of my episode reviews, and you're going to see it again here. Number 1, my favorite volume from all of the comics is definitely No Way Out. No Way Out is volume 14. We get the herd breaking in. We get the deaths of so many characters, a ton of characters, including Jesse's family. We get Douglas's death. We get Morgan's. Correct me if I'm wrong about Douglas. Because he had to be alive and then die here because he's the one that shot Carl. We get Carl getting shot and losing the eye. And lastly, we get the Alexandrians coming together and fighting as a force to just fight their way like gladiators out of all of the walled circle of walkers. And it was so good. No Way Out, my favorite, 100%. Absolutely love Something to Fear, but No Way Out is just a personal, I like it personally more. So that was the list. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you want more videos like this. I really want to do more like this. So I thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video. Comment down there. Tell me what your favorites are. Tell me what you thought of my favorites. Subscribe for more The Walking Dead, both show and comics. One Piece, Tower of God, and a lot more. I do at least 3 videos a week on each of those. And follow on Twitter for updates if you want to know when I'm posting a new video or when anything needs to be pushed back, if anything comes up like that. I thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.